You know, I had this entire intro planned out. What I was gonna do is I was gonna sit here in the rain. It was supposed to be raining right now. And I was gonna take this newspaper and hold it over my head and, you know, be very symbolic about getting down on yourself or burnt out and just not really having any ideas. But, you know, lo and behold, it's been raining all damn day, and when I get to go to film the video, well, it decides to stop raining, and, well, it's getting dark now, so I figured I'd get the video done. So just imagine me sitting here in the rain with this over my head saying, you know, everyone gets burnt out, and it is a thing. So today we're gonna go over a couple of tips to help you get past that burnt out, unimaginative, kind of non-creative zone that everybody does get into. Will Simpson here, and welcome to Exploring Photography. So everyone gets burnt out. I get burnt out, the famous people get burnt out, Peter McKinnon gets burnt out, Casey Neistat gets burnt out, everyone gets burnt out. It's just part of everything. I mean, any kind of artistic or create or anything like that, you're gonna have times when you get burnt out, when you can't think of ideas, and it's just gonna happen. But there are a few ways to work things out. One thing I found that works really well is recreating and rehabilitating your original drive, your original purpose for doing what you're doing. Now this is good for photography, this is good for art, this is good for painting, this is good for pretty much any creative style of work, or it can even be for some hobby. You know, these tips will work for that. But the first one is recreating the purpose, the drive, what excited you in the first place. So for me, I love taking pictures of beautiful landscapes. I love going out and I love creating and taking a picture of a beautiful sunrise or sunset or beautiful mountain range or something. That's brew right there. And that's one thing that really gets me. And sometimes when you start adding in the stress of work or the stress of client stuff or just having to create the next video or anything like that, you can really kind of put a damper on that creative drive there. So that is one thing to do, is just take away all the pressure of clients or the next video or something that you feel like you have to create in order to create, I guess you could say, by going out and really just creating what you enjoy, what you love, and what really started you on this adventure. That will help rehabilitate your creative juices and really get you going again. So that's the first step. Take a day, forget about all the work that you have, all the work that you need to do. I know it might be hard, and then just go do something for fun. Take your camera and just go have fun with no pressure and just see what you get. Okay, number two. Now this comes when you're kind of not creating. When you don't create for a while, you can sometimes lose your creative thought process. So let's say you go for a week or so or some time and you just don't create anything. Well, that's gonna prevent you from creating. That could prevent you from having ideas. Now there is something to say about taking a break. There's nothing wrong with taking a break and going to do something different. So this is kind of a two-part tip. The first tip is to keep creating, always be creating something unique. Again, the pressure and the stress kind of can come into play, but creation creates creation. So by creating and constantly creating new things, you will constantly be having new ideas. I know when I film YouTube videos, if I don't film something for like 2 weeks, I have trouble figuring out ideas. But if I'm filming something consistently every single week, I'm constantly, consistently creating new ideas to film. The next step is to take a break. Now, it's not a bad thing to take a break, and contrary to what I just said, sometimes you do need to step away from the whole thing and just go do something else. It kind of helps reset. There are times when both of these things apply, and you kind of have to judge which one is going to work better. One time it might be taking a break, and another time might be creating. How to tell which one applies? Well, if you're continually creating and coming up with new ideas and just bang, 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 idea, then keep creating, like don't stop. But if you find yourself hitting a wall, if you find yourself hitting a wall, then take a break. Put the camera down. Now, I know if it's your business, if you're a photographer or a YouTuber or anything, or videographer or something like that, and you have to do your business, then obviously finish client work and then maybe take a break. But take a week off, take a day off, take a couple hours off. It doesn't have to be a long time, but go do something completely different. Go ride a roller coaster, or go skydiving, or I don't know, go drive around, or go take your significant other on a date or something like that. You know, get your mind off of the work, because sometimes when you get your mind off of the work, you can then kind of reset yourself and you come back fresh. This really works when you get frustrated. If you're having a hard time doing something, or if you're having a hard time creating or figuring out what to do next, take a break from it, because a lot of times taking a break, going for a walk, going to do something nice, something completely different can help you create new ideas. And that's tip number 2. Now, tip number 3, which is also kind of 3 and 4, is social media. Social media can be a benefit and it can be a negative. It depends on how you're using it. So in the negative point, looking at all of these other people's creations, watching all these YouTube videos, and looking at all these Instagram photos can actually be kind of depressing, because you see all this stuff, you just don't see the work. You see the results that are coming from it, but you don't see the work that's going into it. So you can kind of depress yourself because you're like, well, how can I create those things? I don't know how to create those things. And so it kind of can stop you from creating those things. So take a break from social media. That's the easiest tip. Stop looking at YouTube videos. Stop looking at social media. And yes, I know it's extremely hard because it's extremely addicting, but just stop, take a break, log out of your accounts or whatnot, and force yourself not to look at it. Then go out and start creating, because then you don't have those comparatives, those comparisons that you're saying, ooh, I really want to take this beautiful mountain sunrise with this beautiful lake in it, but I don't have that around me. Or how am I going to do that? So you don't create at all. Well, don't look at it, don't do it, and just go outside and take pictures or video stuff or create some kind of art. That can help a lot. On the other side, social media can be good because it can be encouraging. It can be inspiring. You can see this work of art and be like, you know what? I want to create that. Well, if that gives you the drive to then go out and create that piece of work, then awesome, then do it. And if that's how you can get inspired, then great. So social media can be a plus and it can be a minus. It just depends on how you look at it. If you find yourself looking at social media and you're noticing yourself getting kind of disappointed, then stop looking at social media. But if you find yourself looking at social media and getting inspired to go create and do stuff, then great, keep looking at social media. So it's just kind of up to you. Do you have an addictive personality like I do, where I sit there and scroll for hours on hours and I'm like, oh shit, now I haven't created anything in 3 days? Or can you look at something and go and create it? Totally up to you, but that is tip number 3/4. And let's move on to the next one. Final tip, tip number 5, 4, 2.5, I don't know. Anyways, the final tip is to learn something and then apply something. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, there are hundreds of YouTube videos on YouTube, and there are thousands of different things that you could learn taking photos or drawing or painting or videoing. There are just unbelievable amounts of information, and it can get very, very overwhelming. So take something, learn it, and then practice it until it's perfect. So let's say you want to learn how to dodge and burn a photo. Well, go watch a video and then go apply it and then practice it over and over and over again until you have it. Because if you want to create these spectacular photos and these awesome works of art, you need to learn these things, and a lot of stuff goes into it. The last photo I just did took me about 30 minutes to an hour to edit, but I've been practicing these techniques for about a year. And a lot of it was dodging and burning. And I'm going to do a video on this soon, if not already. I can't remember which one is going to re-release first, this video or that video. We'll figure it out. But if it's not up now, it'll be up next week. If it's up now, it was up last week. Yeah. Anyways, so the final tip is simply to just practice what you do. Because the more you practice, the better you're going to get and the more creative you're going to get. But if you watch tons of videos and try and learn all this at one time, it can get very depressing, because then let's say you watch 10 videos and you're like, well, shit, what was video 1? So then you go back to video 1 and watch it again, and then you're like, well, dang, I can't remember what number 7 was. And then you're just in this cycle of non-create. Then you get depressed because you're like, well, I don't know if I can apply all these things, and so on and so forth, and the dwindling spiral of not creating. So the big lesson here is to learn something and then go apply it, and then learn something and then go apply it. It'll stack up, and before you know it, you'll be creating amazing photographs. So I hope that helps you out. Those are some of my tips that I use to get re-inspired or reignite that flame, that creative passion that I know you have and that I definitely have. Hey. I'm sitting on the bench and they're in the flower beds and everything's getting all smushed. Anyways, if you have some other good ideas and tricks to help handle the burnout, go ahead and comment below. Let's create kind of a place where people can come and put the water on that burnout so everyone can get creating, because it is a passion and we love to do it. So let's remember that and keep creating. So if you like this video, go ahead and like it, subscribe if you haven't already. I do videos like this every Monday at 7 p.m. But it was good to see you guys. I will see you next week.